arts, lifestyle. SNS Online.
Hello and welcome to SNS Online and our fourth show in our Rise Up Women series. Today connecting to Pride season across the UK and indeed the world. Here we look to future generations, both gay and straight, and how children are educated from a young age. Children's author Carolyn Robertson has written a series of picture books exploring and indeed normalising same-sex parentage and adoption. All are proving to be particularly successful additions to the range of books available to the under fives. And Carolyn joins us today. A very warm welcome to the programme, Carolyn. I must say, these books are fantastic, easy to read for young children. Some of the most beautiful artwork I've seen for this genre, classic with a fresh modern twist, and stories where the sexuality of the parents is quite often incidental to the tale itself. I mean, oh my God.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nick. Nice to meet you.
What started you off on the road to write these?
Well, we adopted two boys. We started the adoption process after we'd been together about 5 years, and we adopted our son. It took the actual process was very quick for us. It only took about 10 months from start to finish, from actually our initial interest with the social services to actually be in place. It was only a 10-month period. It was very quick. And when our first son arrived, I really wanted some books to kind of go on his shelf and reflect our types of families, because all the other ones were quite heteronormative. And I looked around and there was a real dearth, actually, and especially for adopted parents, there really was very little.
So did you feel that there was as you were saying, there was a gap in the market? Did you feel there was another voice that needed to be added when it came to children's books?
Definitely. And there's no reason why kids' bookshelves shouldn't be full of all sorts of different types of family setups and different types of families. And I also wanted them to be funny. So I'd come across some through adoption agencies, books for same-sex couples or about adoption, and I found them a little bit dry and a bit earnest. And I wanted some books to have poo in them and animals and fun and to actually to be more reflective of the kind of other good quality picture books that were on the market.
So let's count them up. How many books? We've got, I believe, an adoption story, Little Stork's New Home, Two Dads, Two Mums and the Menagerie, and now a brand new book called Two Mums. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes, this book, it's not specifically for adopted families. It's for any two mums families out there, because mums often reach parenthood in different ways and are able, obviously, to conceive. So, I wanted to do something for the two mum families out there. And, of course, it's for adopted parents as well, if they want to read it. It's again, same illustrator as Two Dads. It's a very affirming story, quite light-hearted. And, it's got a rollerblading mum. She's very cool and an artist.
Is that based on you or your partner?
No, I can't rollerblade for toffee. No, it's not me.
Okay. As I said, the artwork is fantastic. You've got quite a few different artists. Sophie Humphreys and Sophie Keane, are they the same person? Did she get married?
She did get married, yes. Sophie did. Sophie's she's an old school friend's sister-in-law. That's how I got to know Sophie.
Well, congratulations, Sophie. Also, Patricia de Villiers?
Yes, and she is a contact I made through my wife, and she's actually a South African artist. And that was quite a hard job to do, because we had to do everything over the internet. And the way I do my illustrations often is I can't draw. So I do really horrible stick pictures.
I was going to say the stick work.
Yeah, really awful. And I put the text where I'd like the text to go around the pictures. And then I hand them the awful stick pictures to the artists and say, could you do something with this, please? And generally they use their own ideas, their own imaginations, but they do a brilliant job, I think.
So let's talk about the age range, preschool or more. I noticed one that said from age 9 on Amazon.
Well, that's an Amazon mistake.
I was going to say.
No, I'd say they're the picture books, the kind of books that you'd start reading with your child. You know, they're really nice bedtime books, and they offer. I think 3 of the books actually end at bedtime, which is really good for kids.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yeah, that's a time when they're all snuggled up, and I'd say from 3 to 6. For the 2 mums and the 2 dads would be the age group. And I think Little Stork's New Home is a different type of book, and that's more of an explainer book for adopters when they're talking about life story work with their children, which is kind of explaining the adoption journey to children. It's quite a difficult thing to do, and I wanted a medium to kind of help with that.
So also you've had success in America, I've noticed, as 2 moms and a menagerie.
Yeah, I had to go through the book and change it to moms. It's been going really well.
Brilliant.
I went over to New York and I met some bookshop owners and spoke to them. And I also went to the Gay Centre, which is very high tech in New York, actually. And they've got a library there. And I spoke to some guys over there and they shared my books and they're doing very well. It seems to be a big hit.
I mean, I'm just looking at 2 Dads, which is the first one I got a while ago when we're talking about it. I just want to read a little quote here. Not everyone I meet or see is even half as lucky as me, for I have something that can't be bad. I don't have 1, I have 2 dads. Oh yes, I didn't come out of either dad's tummy. I wasn't dropped by a stork or even found by a bunny. No, I am rather special, you see, because both my dads adopted me. Now, I love that. The fact that you've been chosen is a really good sort of positive and, very good reason to feel good about yourself.
Absolutely. I wanted to make the books as affirming as possible. And it's really important for adopted children to see themselves in that light, of actually being chosen, and their parents are so excited the fact that they've got children in their families. And and obviously with 2 dads, most dads in the UK actually come to fatherhood via adoption, gay dads, because surrogacy offered isn't an option. It was important to share. And the book has gone down extremely well. Brilliant.
And I was just going to say, if you wanted to do a sequel to 2 Mums and a Menagerie, you could do 2 Dads and a Migraine, me and Andy. We could get into that. We got a cat called Monkey. That's our baby. Right. And 2 goldfish who unfortunately died on Boxing Day together. I think it was a suicide pact or something.
Together?
Well, they were bored. Yeah, I changed the water as normal. I don't know what was going on there. But that's about the extent of our commitment.
That's really sad, Boxing Day.
I know. Okay, I'm just going to read a few reviews of your books. I mean, there's so many of them, and they're all wonderfully positive. I love this book. A story about a loving family that brings lots of animals into their home to care for. This is obviously 2 Mums and the Menagerie. The fact that this family has 2 mums is almost an aside. When my son read it, he hadn't really noticed that there wasn't a mum and dad, and to him it was just a funny story about having lots of animals around the house. Something else, what a lovely book. It's full of delightful imagery, rhyme, and a story that will capture the imagination of children. It's difficult to find books for children that successfully combine a great story with representation of the diversity of all our families. But Carolyn Robertson has done this so well. That's brilliant.
Won the cockles.
So, Carolyn, did you or your partner ever consider having a child naturally through a donor or something like that, or were you always focused on adoption?
We did consider that, and actually we did go ahead with that initially, and we started the process. But towards the end of the process of meeting somebody, and we actually went down the artificial insemination route, I got pregnant, and then I unfortunately miscarried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
But shortly after that, it really kind of brought things to a head for my partner and I, and we discussed what would have happened and how we felt about what did happen. And my partner actually said, how about adoption? Because it would feel more equitable for us, and that would mean that there wouldn't be a third person involved in the relationship, because initially we were going to. It wasn't just a sperm donor; it was actually a mutual friend, and so we discussed that at length. And we also discussed, the fact that there are so many children in care who need a loving family. And because I used to teach, I felt like I had the skills to support children who had special needs or difficulties. So after that discussion, we decided, let's go for adoption.
Sure.
I just wanted to add that I think that gay adopters bring something unique to the adoption process, in that as a minority, we've often suffered, a lot of us have suffered loss. We've suffered, we feel different a lot of the time. And especially with gay men, actually, it's their first choice to come to parenthood via adoption. And if you're heterosexual, you've often been on a long journey of miscarriage, a long journey of insemination, and you often come to a point of loss. Whereas I think gay adopters come to a point, it's often their first choice. And it was a quick choice that we made after our first miscarriage. And I really feel that all the things about being gay can help us as adopters, because we know what it's like to feel different, and we can share that with our children. And I think the level of empathy is quite unique and important.
So what's next for you?
Right now I'm writing a comedy script.
Are you?
Yes. I am.
Does it have a lesbian twist?
It certainly does.
Brilliant.
Yes, I went to the Diva Literary Festival in November in Birmingham, and I entered a competition for the lesbian box office, which is going to be a kind of a lesbian channel dedicated to kind of more gay content. And
this is a television channel?
Yes, it's going to be a TV channel. They're currently doing a series that's aired at the moment. It's a web series called Different for Girls. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Okay.
So, who are you shagging now?
I haven't seen your other half. Is there one?
She's away a lot.
You made me come running because you just had a tiff with your fucking plastic lesbian?
You're really gonna go through with this charade of a wedding?
I know this is difficult for you, honey.
And so I pitched an idea that I had called MILF.
Okay. You're going to explain that one?
I'd rather not. I think that's something you should share with your listeners.
Okay. So in general, that's going okay? I mean, presumably you can't talk too much about it. But
I can't talk too much about it, but I am currently writing a comedy script called MILF, which will be set in and around London and Kettering, about a woman who finds herself newly divorced from her civil partner and dumped in Kettering, and how does she manage to get herself out to the straight community and survive within it. I think there'll be quite a lot of laughs.
Kettering, the place so good they named it once, as they say. So, I mean, that sounds fantastic. Can we get you back if that becomes a thing? Can we get you back to talk about it?
I really hope it becomes a thing. And that's my current baby at the moment. It's quite a departure from children's fiction, It's interesting getting my head from one thing to the next.
You're allowed to use rude words and things.
I'm allowed to use rude words, yes. Discuss MILFs.
I'm going to be scandalised.
I think you'd be more interested in DILFs, to be honest.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me.
So where did we find out more about you online? I know there's a thing called Sparkly Poo Publications, which is an adoption blog by you.
There is an adoption blog, yeah. I wanted to share some of our journey because it's had its ups and downs, adopting two boys, and we've come across quite a few things that have been challenging for us over the past 10 years. And I wanted to share the story and also just share the adoption process that we went through, because a lot of people ask questions about what was it like, what did we have to do, what's it like when you're placed with a child, about in the introductions. So I wanted to share that, and also the onward journey. We've had a few difficulties with schools, with one of our sons, and sharing that information. And there's a real online adoption community, actually, and it's very helpful to share our experiences.
So what are we tapping into our computers to find you?
Right, well, my blog talks about the adoption journey, and I do have a web page, sparklypoo.com. And I also, I think I've set up a Facebook page, so I can be found across those platforms. And my books are all on Amazon, .com and .co.uk. And interesting, I'm selling loads in Germany. I'm not quite sure why, but they're very popular in Germany, my books.
Are they reprinted?
No, I used they're not, in German.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
No, they're not. So they're actually being read as an English language book. I have got a friend currently translating it into French for me, but it's quite difficult to do because the words, they're very much rhyming text, and finding similar words in another language, it's quite a skill. So we'll see what happens with that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Carolyn, it only remains me to say thank you so much for coming today. We love your books. We're looking forward to many more, including the Rude sitcom. And it only remains me to give your celebrity goodie bag, which all the guests get.
Wow.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you.
Carolyn Robertson, thank you.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing.
And our thanks again go to the fabulous Carolyn Robertson. All her books are available to purchase via Amazon, although it must be said that other online outlets are available. We take a brief pause from our Rise Up Women season during the summer months to introduce an eclectic range of shows for your delectation and delight, including mental health campaigner Jonny Benjamin MBE, radiophonic musical joy in Howlround, and Boise himself, family favourite John Challis. Our very next outing takes us to a quiet village in Norfolk called Trunch. Quiet until we hit Trunchonbury, a dance music festival that's causing a stir with locals and festival goers alike. But until then, if you're going to London Pride this weekend or are planning to go to one in your neck of the woods sometime in the future, have both a glorious and safe one. I'm Nick Randell. Goodbye.
We are family. Sing it to me. I got all my sisters with me. Sing it to me. We are family. I can hear you, guys. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. Hey, I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, y'all. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. I got my sisters with me.
It's basically about these incredibly brave, brilliant, extraordinary young women, aged mainly between 18 and 28, who flew planes to the front line during World War II.
Do you think Emily Davison wanted to kill herself that day?
All her journalism is about martyrdom and fire and sacrifice and nobility and awakenings. It just reads like one long suicide note. I think she really meant to do it.
Because I wanted the world to get better, and I knew it couldn't get better if it's going to be ruled by men. Matter of fact, I think it's amazing how well the men did for 2,000 years, considering they tried to do it alone.
I really feel that all the things about being gay can help us as adopters, because we know what it's like to feel different, and we can share that with our children, and I think the level of empathy is quite unique and important.
I thought to myself, well, if this is a twice-weekly programme and going on throughout the year, I should be editor. So I gave myself the job, as it were, and had it on the credits, and nobody queried it. It was extraordinary.
Girls in the Women's Auxiliary Air Force are being called upon to handle many of the responsible jobs which were previously entrusted only to RAF mechanics and ground staff.
And they flew without radar, sometimes without training on that particular plane. You know, they'd have learnt on a Tiger Moth and they'd be given a Spitfire. I don't think it did help me get a pay rise, but the point was, I suppose children's programmes were regarded as so insignificant, nobody bothered what went on. Pauline Gower was the woman who spearheaded it. She got equal pay for equal work.
Yes,
the first woman ever
Which is very,
in Britain
very
to do
topical
it.
in the
and
news
we
at the moment.
Still fighting that battle in 2018. How does that happen?
Rise Up Women, a special season of shows exclusive to SNS Online.